Are there any? Yeah, none.
I am interested.
Good, good, I'm glad that's true. So next, we go to the adoption of the agenda. And we've had an updated agenda that was sent out yesterday, which now includes the election of the chair and vice chair. So that's the agenda we will be adopting. So I need resolved that the agenda for the June 26, 2025 Finance and Administration Advisory Committee need to be adopted as presented. So Jeannie moves and Paul seconds. All in favor? All right, the motion is carried. Now we go to the approval of the minutes. Resolved that the minutes of the Finance and Administration Advisory Committee meeting held on April 4th, 2025 be received and approved as printed. So we'll start with a motion to move to approve. So I see Jeannie moves. Jeff Atkinson seconds. Are there any comments on the minutes? Seeing none, all in favor? All right, the minutes are carried in the last meeting. So now we get to the election of chair and vice chair. Yes, I know. So this will be Sally McIntyre will be running the election for chair. And we need a motion resolved that Sally McIntyre will be appointed as chair for administering the election of chair for the Finance and Administration Advisory Committee meeting 2025 to 26. I need someone to move. Paul moves. 40 seconds. All in favor? Motion is carried. So over to you, Sally.
Thank you very much. This election will be carried out in accordance with procedures set out in our administrative bylaw. The elections will be conducted in the order of chair, followed by election of vice chair. I declare the positions of chair and vice chair to be vacant. And I am asking for nominations for the position of chair. Yes.
I nominate Janet Mason.
Okay. Paul Kehoe nominates Janet Mason. Are there any other nominations for the chair? Are there any other nominations for the chair? Okay, I make the motion that resolve that the position of chair be closed. Madam Mover. Wow. Okay, Roy and Paul. All in favor? Janet, do you accept the position of chair?
I do.
Okay, thank you. I declare the chair claimed and turn it back over to you, Janet.
Thank you, Madam General Manager. All right, so we will be asking for nominations of vice chair, and I do believe that in order to be nominated, the person needs to be present because they have to accept the nomination. Correct. All right. So I'm asking for nominations for vice chair.
Nominate Jeff Atkinson. So many kisses.
Right. I you're throwing a wrench into what
I know.
we planned.
I just saw him there and I thought, wow. Nod your head, yes, Jeff.
No.
You can't do that.
I would like to nominate Paul Kehoe. Okay, people, come on. Let's see. Are there any other nominations for vice chair? Are there any other nominations for vice chair? I believe that's 3 calls for nominations. So resolve that the nominations for the position of vice chair be closed. I need someone to move. Jeannie so moves. I need someone to second. Okay, Paul Kehoe seconds. All in favor? Okay, so we close. So we have 2 candidates for vice chair. I will ask first, Jeff, do you wish to serve as vice chair of the Finance and Administration Committee?
No, I do not. I respectfully decline my nomination and throw it back to Paul.
All right, Paul, do you wish to serve as vice chair for the Finance and Administration?
Thought I got way out. Yes, I will accept.
Thank you for your graceful exit. I know. So with that,
Nice try, Paul.
Come on, dude. It's a serious committee here. Right? So basically, we have declared the vice chair by acclamation is Paul Kehoe.
Now, if Richard wants the chair. Okay, if that is his desire,
Vice chair.
vice chair, then we can probably. Make that facilitate in the next meeting, I would just resign.
It's on his way.
Oh, for-
So can we maybe just not make it official?
No, I mean, we've just been through it.
We just-
Okay, we don't need to make this.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sorry, I don't know, we're gonna have to have a discussion here, I think offline, I don't wanna make it part of the.
Okay. That's fine.
Because if you really wanted to do it, one. you
Yeah,
should
I
have-
apologize,
you should have
Madam
informed The general manager, you should have informed me, you should have been here. Like, there's a whole lot of stuff that I think, and I'm not in any way against it, I just feel that there's a certain process you go through and a certain respect for the committee that you need to follow through.
And I apologize for something.
All right, thank you, Paul. All right, so back, we move on, please. So now we have an in-camera on the job evaluation and results, that will be presented by Sally. So resolved that the Finance and Administration Advisory Committee moved to in-camera discussion of the following matter. Labor relations or employee negotiations, and further resolved that Sally McIntyre remain in the room. I need someone to move. I can't see the screen to see if anybody's moving.
Sorry.
I can't see. Is anyone moving on the screen? No, okay, oh, yeah, all right, so sorry, who moved? Jeannie moved, Roy seconded. All in favor of moving into camera? Thank you, so only Sally is the only staff person who will remain online and in the room. All right, so. We're good to go. Resolve that the Finance and Administration Advisory Committee recommend that the Board of Directors approve its salary grid as recommended by the general manager. So I need someone to move. So Roy moves, need someone to second. Somewhere, no, did you second her? Kathy Curry seconds, thank you, Kathy. All in favor? All right, the motion is carried. Excellent. Thank you, everybody. So now we're on to the fee update. And this will be presented by Stacy.
Oh, she's doing it for you, I think so. Very good. So, again, on all of our fees, the direction trying to work towards full cost recovery, during category 2, sorry, under the category 2. From this, we had some updates further in relation to stewardship and facility rentals. Currently, stewardship has only been recovering for the pocket road plans, and really keeping that at just cost. We've never charged really for the services. Found it on grants and levies to cover that, so in this update, we're looking to increase some of the charge for plants. And to put in costs for some time. Under facility rentals, when we first started putting the gatehouse, etc., in, we put in a minimum 4 hour. We've had some pushback and comments on that, as well as seeing a reduction in some of the rentals of 4 hours being too long. So we're proposing that the minimum 4 hours on the picnic shelter, the Ed Center, and the gatehouse be changed to 2 hours. And then having any additional hourly rate not changing. And with that, putting in a half day and a full day rate. So in terms of the fees, I'm going to steward a whole order, sorry, they're the board, which is schedule D. With the boardroom, our boardroom here. These tables are special, they are connected with electronics, etc. underneath. Reworking these is extremely time consuming and we can't allow anyone else to do it. Because they should break them. The AV system as well is complicated and we've had some people messing it up. We've had some cases because we've started in the last year or two renting this boardroom out. To some external sources with queries, and the most recent case, they brought significantly more people than they originally said they were going to. It took more staff time, it clogged the parking lot, So staff had difficulty sitting, finding spots. So we're making a change recommendation around the boardroom. What we're proposing, and I put the fees up on the screen to make it a little easier, is the boardroom doesn't get rented out other than to our affiliated groups such as MMLT, there's all that septic, etc. We continue not to charge for the boardroom, but even for our partners that we've never charged anything, that we start charging, if they want to use the AV, there's a charge. Because it takes Alex's time, etc., to make sure it's working, and etc. And also charging for, if they want to make any changes to the setup, they're paying $100 fee to deal with our staff to reconfigure it. But that we don't, we eliminate the $260 charge to be looking at public rentals. So that's my our staff recommendation on the boardroom. Next up is visitor services. And on there, we are looking to add a full site rental for particular MOK. But we have had some inquiries and we've never had a full site rental. It would not eliminate public being able to use the trails or to get to the museum. It would be just the rest of the site potentially. Same when we have the Quintel Country Christmas. That's the area that would kind of potentially be available for use. We're proposing a 3,000 for the day, plus any staff time. Staff time would be additional if they needed to have parking attendants or that someone has to be on site to make sure, answer questions and help. Just to have it on the record of it being available.
Just a quick question.
Yep.
Is there a difference between AM and PM? So if you're saying it's a flat charge.
Yeah.
What's it mean?
It would be,
Just give me an example, like when you say staff time, so is this in the evening, so are we paying overtime for staff to come in?
no, we typically, the site's closed in the evening, so it would be our tip would be a daytime.
Okay.
The example would be, we had a indigenous group that wanted to host an event there.
Okay,
That's the time. So it was a daytime event. And the staff fees that we charge would be the same as what's already in the schedule. So. On the picnic structure, shelter and the ed center, having a minimum fee of the 2 hours instead of the 4. And adding in half day, which is in essence the same as the current 4-hour minimum, and a full pay rate. Same with the gatehouse, and it's slightly higher dollar amount because of the amount of the size of the facility. On the stewardship. Looking to increase the cost for flowers and wildflowers, and that includes bare root. So currently we're only charging 3, we're looking to change that to 5. And looking to change the cocoa discs and the mulch. It's actually $1.50. This is rounded it, and I missed that. I apologize. So it was $1.50 up from $1. And those are just to do a better cost recovery, a little bit on the average from what we're getting charged by suppliers, because they've gone up a little bit this year. We are looking to add in a fee for planting services. So we do get some requests for doing shoreline plantings and things. The pre-consultation, the site visit, and the planting would continue to be free, but doing the actual work, unless it's with a program that has a grant covering it, we'd be available to do that to promote. The shoreline planting was good for the erosion control, etc. That fee is based on 4 staff, and it's the equivalent of the current fee we have on the fee schedule for a field crew 2 staff. So it's just the equivalent and then plus mileage. Additional hours is at 170, and that's just a grand straight same fee, just put on a stewardship. We are looking at proposing that if we have someone who has a violation remediation agreement and they want to use us to do the planting, we could do it, but at a 50% premium of what our base charges currently. Again, all of this is to try and work towards cost recovery and as well with the museum rentals in particular, not make it, people aren't coming because 4 hours is to get people that want to do a little, a yoga class or whatever in the gatehouse. They can book it for 2 hours, that gives them their setup time and like that.
Gee, question through the chair, what, the plug, I don't know what, I'm assuming it's just a staffing or whatever, but do you know what the comparison is to, like, if somebody went to buy that retail, just for comparison's sake?
We're buying,
Yes.
We're probably buying in bulk though,
Yes,
so if somebody was gonna say do, 20 plugs, if they went to Canadian Tire or Home Hardware, do we
You
have,
can't get plugs from them, but
You
you
can't.
like I do know, I buy from Ferguson Tree Nursery. And
Okay.
you can buy clear root in bulk, and so depending, it would be $3 to $5.
so that's pretty
That's
accurate,
quite reasonable.
okay, I was just wondering if they're getting a deal.
well, they're getting a deal because we get it in bulk.
Yeah,
Right.
that's what I'm saying.
Okay.
Yeah, bulk. Yeah, Sally, then Richard.
Just for simplicity's sake, we have it at a fixed rate. It varies depending on the planting material, right? So for simplicity, they're just saying $3 each.
Okay,
Some are less, some. are
I just wanted to know what the comparable is to retail, if they didn't go through us, they went to just buy their own, are they paying, double, triple? But if you're saying it's comparable,
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I do it over time involved.
okay,
Richard?
yeah, the 2 hours instead of 4, that includes setup and cleanup, right? Like, we have people.
It's
that-
very minimal with that, but for those particular facilities, we didn't touch the wedding, it's only the picnic shelter, the Ed Center and the gatehouse.
Okay.
So. that'd be-
Just lots, we have lots of the think it's the time that use it,
Yes.
not the time it takes to set up and clean up. And so as long as we're. It's not, and, the other one was, the day rate. $3,000 for the day.
Yeah.
Do we have, like, any of those rates, I didn't see it, do we have a, um. Volunteer, what do we call it?
well, nonprofits,
It's nonprofit price compared to,
All of our prices, again, it's a, sorry, I didn't put it up there, all of our rentals indicate community group is 50%
community group is 50%.
of what these fees are.
oh. Well, that's important to know.
Yes.
Sorry, that was it, sorry, yes, that's a standard honor.
Yeah, that should be.
It's not a
indicated
change,
when you go to
yes.
the board, I think that should
Yeah.
just be
Yeah.
highlighted,
Okay.
because I didn't even put that.
Okay.
So-
I was just thinking the day rate that if somebody decided to come in and shoot a movie.
Well,
But
that's,
they should be paying more than the. The Humane Society or whoever, that's all, but that's all.
Are there other questions? I have a couple. If someone were to take advantage of the stewardship planning for farm planting, but then was able to use volunteers to do the planting. Would, and were able to actually pick up the material that you had paid for with your bulk discount. Presumably they could do that. Right? Okay, all right, so just to make sure that they don't necessarily have to require the use of staff to do the planting. But they can take advantage of the fact that you managed to get this planting. Yeah. And then my second question, and this is really just, wondering, is on this 50% premium. For people in violation. So does this happen often, and do you think that the 50% premium would turn them off? I'm just kind of curious how often this gets asked.
that might be one.
Yeah,
I'll answer that one because, so there was a fair amount of discussion around this. The issue at play was originally about whether we charge people for the planting plan. That was the genesis of this, okay? And, there was a healthy discussion amongst the planning and, stewardship group about the fact that if it's a violation, we have ordered them to do works. If we're then on another arm of the organization advising them and doing the planting plan. And potentially, that's put it in a conflict. But could we help them out by actually, sourcing the material and doing the hands-on work? Yes, but you're gonna pay. So, no, I don't believe this happens a lot, but it does happen, and that's what precipitated the whole the discussion. And it started around whether or not we do.
But they're gonna see that they're paying 50% more because the fee schedule, I'm just wondering, I have no idea, I was just curious if it. That, sway people from wanting to use the service, that's.
And
You don't know, I mean, we don't know until.
yeah,
Okay,
and it's not like it happens a lot anymore.
right, okay,
What happens more so is us advising them on
Yes.
planting, and that's what I wanted us to step away from, because it puts us in conflict of
right,
interest.
okay. Sorry, Richard?
Yeah, just the other question, like, how much rent would we have brought in a year for this room?
Hypothetical.
Okay, no, just, ask.
All right, are we ready? Are we finished with the discussion on the fee changes? I'm not seeing any hands up over there, so while we read the resolution. Resolved that the Finance and Administration Advisory Committee recommend that the board of directors approve revision of MVCA's 2025 fee schedules as outlined in this report. The posting of the new fees in accordance with MVCA's fee policy. And see that the new fees take effect September 1, 2025, pending no major concerns regarding the proposed changes. So I need someone to move. I see Roy moves, I see Jeff Atkinson seconds. All in favor? All right, the motion is carried. All right, so we're on to, I believe, our final. Yes, so we're now discussing the reserve policy changes proposed.
Okay, thank you. So, this policy was, originally adopted, I think in 2021 or 22, it was amended in December 23. And we're proposing a further refinement to it. When we drafted it, we inadvertently included language that would, in theory, require Stacy to come to the board every time we wanted to move monies in and out of funds to implement even board approved activities as approved through the budget. And the treasurers in most of our organizations, once the budget is approved, are authorized to make the necessary transactions within their, level of authority to exercise and implement the plan, the budget. So the first change that we're proposing is to remove the language that restricts her from making changes and moving monies simply for day-to-day operations. So it says, the language that we want to remove, it says a resolution of the board is required to make a contribution to, withdraw from, and to make a final distribution. So we need to have our treasurer be able to add and take away monies from these reserves as needed to implement the will of the board. But it is critical that any distributions made at the end of the year come through this board. So the language would change to a resolution of the board is required to make a final year-end distribution amongst restricted and unrestricted reserves and reserve funds. But we recognize that, having it too open is not necessarily a good thing. So then we put additional two clauses on this. That the treasurer shall ensure that all reserve and reserve fund withdrawals, contributions and transfers occur in accordance with board approved annual budget, number one. Number two, under exceptional circumstances, where an unplanned expenditure is necessary and times of the essence, the treasurer may make a withdrawal from a reserve or reserve fund as less than 100,000, following consultation and approval of the general manager. So for instance, our AC system in our server room is on the fritz.
Oh, no.
Okay, so, and depending on what happens, we might have an unplanned expenditure between 10 and 20,000 dollars. So we're still working on that, but this would allow her to do that with my okay. The second clause says if it's $100,000 100,000 or greater, that again, if time is of the essence, that the executive committee could deal with the matter, right?
We,
Other,
we meet once a month, right?
except you don't meet in August, you don't meet in November.
Or June, really.
Yeah, and June is a sort of, it's the board tour, so there are periods of time. I mean, I don't envision exercising this, frequently.
But it's there.
It's there, to be sure, but the executive is the chair, the vice chair, the chair of the finance admin, and the chair of the policy and planning committee. So, it is the executive, literally, of the board. So again, this would be by exception, and I wouldn't necessarily bring anything forward to the executive unless, I mean, if we're incurring $100,000 expense, something bad has happened. Like, that's pretty significant, and we might need to deal with it quickly, but if not, you're right, I would just bring it to the board.
What was the driver of this, Sal? Why did you feel it needed to be?
It relates back to the original clause. I wanted to capture the intent, which was proper oversight of any movements of monies and expenditures by the treasurer. So if I was going to remove, make a contribution to, and withdraw from, I needed to replace that with parameters under which that would be permitted. Right?
But what drew your attention? Why did you think that?
Okay, why did this whole thing come to light?
Yes.
Because last year, Stacy did her job and was moving monies, and I was doing a quality control check, and I had a, oh my gosh, moment when I realized that the wording of that particular clause precluded her from day-to-day normal operations of her job.
Oh.
And I went, oh, we're gonna have to bring this to the board and remedy this.
Richard?
Yeah, I disagree with the $100,000 one, and
Okay.
I will the board too. Because I think you just call a special meeting. It's $100,000 for this organization.
Right, yeah.
You should have a special meeting and do it if you're pulling it out of reserves, and it's not in the budget.
Yeah.
The other thing is, I want it strongly worded that. Like, it's what I think what you're saying, Sally, if the numbers are in the budget. But I think it should be in the budget that you're transferring it from reserves.
Yes, it does,
Yeah, okay,
It
as long as it's not,
yes.
we found a shortfall in this, and so it's in the budget, so we're gonna take it out of reserves to pay for it. As long as it's in the column saying at the budget, we're gonna take 20,000 out of reserves to pay for IT or something.
I had a comment too, though, if I could, because I actually agree with Richard, and what I was wondering.
You sound like you're shocked that you agree with me.
I didn't mean it that way. I totally agree. I do agree with Richard. And then my question actually was related to what the sign off authorities are now for dollar values, because I cannot remember what the sign off levels are, where you have to, and there's your level of sign off. And then there's when you require the chair of the board to sign off. I can't remember what those, because that, to me, we should be consistent with those.
So, yes, so my sign off authority for something that the board has approved.
Right.
Is the 100,000,
Okay,
so.
But it's in the budget.
but it's in the budget, so for something that the board has not approved, what is the sign off? Is there anything? Defined?
It is, I think it's a 25, did you just say 25? I think it is,
I think
I thought it was 25 or 50.
It's 25 because I signed a lot of them off and like sending stuff in for homers and stuff like
Right,
that.
right, because shouldn't it be consistent with that, if the number be consistent with that, seems to me. Because you're essentially spending money, you're removing money out of a reserve that has not been budgeted for, so you should get the same level of approval as what. You're required just to spend money that's not in the budget.
We'll check that and amend this report as needed.
Okay, and would that be acceptable to people that
Yeah.
are consistent with that?
So what does that mean? Like that, does that mean Roy? And I guess I can sign off for over 25,000 up to. Whatever the number is, and then under 25,000 yourself, is up to your. Fine, check.
I think so. I think
But
that's.
stuff is-
But
That's what's in the budget.
Right, I'm signing off on
We're
that.
talking about a one-off, something.
That's
that's,
But that's in the budget.
That's
This is like an emergency. Peter.
Right.
Emergency stuff. The blow out a dam wall.
Right.
Or the AC and the computer room.
That's what, the question I had was, what is happening, what is the requirement now when we have something that is not in the budget, and what's the level of sign off? That you are allowed, and when do you have to, when it's not in the budget, when you have to bring in the
Those,
chair and vice chair?
those numbers should match up.
That's what I'm saying, is they should match, right?
So I think just go away and come back.
Yeah.
Have information, right?
Yes,
Correct, but then it becomes who signs it off, so if it's this, to me, it's the same sort of thing. That it would then be the chair and vice chair would need to sign off, would have that sign off. But then it needs to come to the board, whatever that next level is. I think they just need to be consistent.
Yes.
I just can't remember what they are. I can't remember.
and agreed,
Right,
so,
And the other thing, just, sorry, it's that whatever. You're gonna be redoing, so whenever you redo it, that. And that amount that the board is told about the next meeting.
yes, and I think I have that,
yeah, notification.
it's in the last sentence there, but
Okay,
yes.
Yes. So. I think we know what, is everyone clear what the proposed change would be, and do we want it to come back to this committee, or are we prepared to? Allow it to go to the board at the next board meeting? What would you prefer? Yes, Paul?
I guess I would say that we have an understanding here. We would have the opportunity at the board level, saying, wait a second here, so I would like to see this move forward, so I think it could be brought to the coming back to this committee. We have a fair grasp of what's going on, what's happening here.
but what's the rush? Like, why not make sure we're clear, so we don't have to have a big debate at the board?
Yes, Alan?
So two things, one, I can pre-circulate to the finance and just with the proposed revisions, with the additional information that helps support what the new language will say. So I can pre-circulate to you. Secondly, by rights, she shouldn't be moving any money these days.
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
and we have capital projects underway and, like Glen Dam. So we need to be able to move monies around and to affect the budget.
Right, but you have that ability.
Yeah, you can do that now without the changes.
And I can.
It's a legend.
But it's the current
Right,
rate,
okay, right, you're right.
Yes.
So we're moving it.
yeah. So I am happy to pre-circulate revised wording, we can work on that this week, get it out to you on Monday.
Why don't we bring half of it to? Like the half that says that it's in the budget,
Right,
there's no,
Okay,
yeah, that's a good
We're
solution. I
outside.
think that's a good solution. So you can take the first half of this. To the board at the next meeting in July. Oh, should you? That's twice.
Buy a lottery ticket.
And then you bring, and I just, we're gonna have to have an exec, we're gonna have to have another F and A meeting, as I recall. To deal with the salary issues. I know there's an exec meeting and then we need another F and A meeting coming, right? Pardon me? In September.
Yeah.
So you can then bring the second half of this
Okay.
back to the finance.
They'll tell you first half. Solve the problem.
yes,
Yes,
I just wanna, may I clarify what the
Yes.
first half?
yes, I was just going to. Okay.
So I would say the first half is the change in wording on page 17.
Correct.
As well as everything on page 18 up to where it says under exceptional circumstances. So everything before under exceptional circumstances would be approved. And it's the exceptions that we gotta go away, figure out and bring back.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, is everyone okay with that? So I'm gonna say, because I now have to figure out how to modify this resolution. Maybe I just need to say,
As modified,
as amended.
yeah, as amended.
so how does this affect your receiving computer?
So right now, we're leaving the door open, so it's
Yeah, well,
it's
that's
not
good.
addressing.
But
Well, it's working,
maintenance.
it's
There's enough money in the maintenance.
yeah, I think we're okay. Cause
What is your selling authority?
25.
25,000.
It's 25.
So if that computer, if that goes to 30,000. You technically can't sign for it.
Yeah, but this doesn't change that she couldn't any,
Yeah,
because this is just about reserves, not,
Yes.
not.
Oh, I know that.
Yeah, but
But
essentially,
Sally's talking about emergency POs too. So are you saying computer room goes down, it's costing $35,000 fixed? She doesn't have the authority to send out the money. You're gonna call a special meeting for a $35,000 PO?
no, because this is about moving money out of reserves. So
Yeah.
essentially,
It's not about
what we're saying is she has to do what she needs to do to get the money to pay it now, and then and later at the, whenever, the end of the year, we make an agreement where we have a.
So then I'm misunderstanding. Why didn't you bring that up, Sally?
You can basically move it out of reserve later,
That was just an example she gave.
right? So right, it's reserves is something that can be done later in a year, right? Go ahead.
It's there for the reserve.
I just need to ask Stacy a question. Our operating reserve is where I would be inclined to pull the monies from. It's a reserve, it's not a restricted reserve, so we need to make that distinction between a reserve and a restricted reserve, so.
It's
Well,
it's more of a contingency.
it can be used for contingency such as that, but again, it's still a withdrawal from an operating. reserve.
Technically, we're not talking withdrawing the actual physical funds, but the use of it that we're reallocating.
But you already have a policy saying how much you can spend, which is different than the policy with reserves.
Yes.
So whatever you can spend, that's what the computer room, where you get it from,
Which is,
Oh, it's 10?
Yes.
so it's even less.
Oh, you're looking at it, you found it.
It's even less. Though.
right?
It's
So
only 10,000.
purchases between 10 and 100. Required board approval if the expenditure was not originally included in the approved annual budget.
But we're talking about two different things. We're
Yeah.
talking about spending the money and then where the money comes from. Those are two different things.
Great, eventually, where it comes from eventually.
Yeah,
Right, eventually, because presumably you've got a certain amount of cash. That you have to spend outside of a budget, and then in the end, we decide, oh, we're going to backfill that. With money out of a reserve, like it doesn't, why does it have to be decided that it has to come from a reserve immediately? when
Does-
we need to spend? I don't understand that.
there's a policy to spend money over the budget or not within the budget. That's the policy you use.
Yes, but yes, we don't, though, our budget is so balanced and tight. If we're deciding that we're
Oh,
gonna,
it's-
it's likely not to be. It's likely gonna have to.
Stand.
This meeting is being recorded.
But no, it's that any of those decisions that wasn't planned.
Yeah.
The likelihood is we're gonna have to use the operating reserve.
Yeah.
Or capital reserve to cover it, unless we give up doing something that was planned, but it's still that the budget. the
Right,
board
that's the
approved
board's
certain-
decision, that's the board's decision,
Yes,
right? And the board can make that decision.
but it's again, the nature of it being exceptional last minute, do we have to, before we do a repair or anything that's over 10K, bring it back
Well,
to
you
the
have
board?
that issue now, that is
Yes.
the policy now, and regardless, and if you wanna update it and you wanna change that number. Then you have to bring that policy back to the board, and it has to be consistent with this policy. That's what I think. So, I mean, you may have, maybe this computer air conditioner has raised an issue with respect to the other policy.
Yes.
Okay, but in the meantime. I think we're in agreement that we need to make the amendment on page 17 up to and including the very first sentence on page 18. So that's what we're approving with as an amended recommendation, and that we are directing staff to come back to the Finance and Administration Committee with an update to the exceptional circumstances condition or criteria.
Because if, the way to look at it is, if we didn't have a reserve, you still have that policy. If it costs $15,000 for the computer, or for emergency. Staff has authority through the other policy to go ahead and do that. And what you do is you'd have to cut come to board, we'd have to cut something out of the budget we haven't spent on. Like, we'd have to readjust, the budget is an estimate,
Yeah.
we'd have to readjust the
Right.
budget because we had an emergency.
Right, and or we
But the
decide,
authority to go ahead and solve the emergency is there.
right, plus that's when we decide
Which is-
to take it out of the reserve so that we don't have to,
Yeah.
or not.
Yeah,
Is that correct, Stacy?
Yes, up to 10K.
Up to 10K.
I understand, that's so.
But it's too different.
sure, policy.
We need to adjust.
But you need to adjust both of them.
Yes,
Okay.
Yeah,
they
right,
try to get.
right, but I'm also wanting to say in directing staff of that, there's, that's part of the resolution.
Yes, it has to be.
Okay, all right, I'll just okay, so again, I'm just gonna make sure that when I am going to read, well, I'm gonna say that what we're approving is page 17. Plus the very first sentence on page 18, so I'm going to read the resolution. Which says, resolved that the Finance and Administration Advisory Committee recommend that the Board of Directors approve amendment of the reserve policies as set out in the report 350/25. As amended by the Finance and Administration. Okay. Paul so moves. I need a second.
You don't have to say that because you're amending a motion that hasn't gone to board.
But the recommendation says, as set out in this
Yeah,
report.
I have to change.
So our report recommends X, you want to recommend Y to the board. So
Okay, amendment of reserve policy is set out in this report, so we're amending the report.
Right.
Right.
Okay. not the
As
motion.
amended by the finance, so I have it moved, I need a seconder for 8 seconds. All in favor? All right, the motion is carried, and we are including in the minutes, I would like to see that we are directing staff to come back. To the Finance and Administration Committee with a change criteria for the exceptional circumstances for use of the reserve policy. And that they consider the current policy that's in effect for purchases that are not in the budget. So, because I think the whole thing needs to be looked at. Okay, we're
thank you,
good,
everyone.
we're good, yes.
I don't know why but there's that old thing, because, when you say, well, there's a couple of things I don't understand, and they say, what, you say, well, say we were gonna talk about policy.
Right, oh, okay. All right, good conversation, though. Very good
Yes.
Yeah, very
conversation,
helpful.
and
Thank
I
you,
actually
everybody.
agree with Richard. It's much better. All right, so I think we're now ready to adjourn. Is there any other business? Okay, everyone's voting before I even read the resolved that the Finance Administration Advisory Committee meeting be adjourned. All right, Jeannie, Richard, all in favor, everyone's got their hands up. All right, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, everybody. I just like that. So they have to wait. Thank you.
I'm gonna keep you. Why was funny?
That's for the bank. He was sort of, he actually, yeah, the bank, there's artists for that officer.